The Fighting Nerds is one of the most remarkable MMA gyms and training camps in the world of mixed martial arts right now. Led by head coaches Flavio Alvaro and Pablo Susupira, what sets the Sao Paulo-based squad apart is their commitment to developing well-rounded fighters, not just specialists. It's almost as if their mission is to create the most complete fighters imaginable. Each member of the team is equally skilled on their feet as they are on the ground, with a high fight IQ and disciplined adherence to their game plan. In order to determine who the best fighting nerd is, let me break down every impressive savage in this group of warriors real quick. Caio Borralho is a middleweight who has a record of 17 wins and 1 loss. He is known for his well-rounded fighting style in MMA. He primarily excels in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, having a black belt in that discipline, which makes him a strong grappler with a dangerous ground game. His grappling skills are complemented by his solid wrestling, allowing him to control opponents on the mat and seek submissions. In addition to his grappling prowess, Borralho has a competent striking game, utilizing Muay Thai and kickboxing techniques. He mixes his kicks, punches, and knees effectively to keep the opponents off balance, though his strength lies in taking the fight to the ground where he can dominate with his BJJ. Caio has had a wonderful run so far in the UFC. He's one of the few fighters who had to fight twice in the same season of Dana White's Contender series. He had a kind of dominant win in his first fight, but didn't impress Dana. He was then given another opportunity and he sure took it and won by an impressive knockout. Since then, Caio has been on a 7-fight undefeated win, recently knocking out Paul Craig and having a very impressive war with Jared Cannonier. This was a very big win for Caio and for sure his hardest fight, as there were times Cannonier was still in the fight away. The fight was so close that in the 5th round it could have been anyone's fight, but Caio was really tested and proved to be legit, winning the fun, brutal fight by a majority decision. Caio is now up there in the middleweight division and is definitely only set to take on the top dogs going forward. Carlos Prates is a versatile MMA fighter in the welterweight division with a striking, heavy style, primarily focused on Muay Thai and kickboxing. He uses powerful leg kicks, sharp elbows, and fast combinations to overwhelm his opponents in standing up exchanges. Prates also incorporates good movement and footwork, allowing him to evade strikes and set up counters effectively. While his striking is his strong suit, Prates also has a solid grappling and defensive skills, particularly in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, enabling him to defend takedowns and stay competitive on the ground when necessary. However, his preference tends to lean towards keeping the fight standing and using his striking to finish opponents. Prates has a record of 20 wins and 6 losses, and he is undefeated in the UFC. Carlos Prates got into the UFC by knocking out Mitch Ramirez in Dana White's Contender series in 2023. Since then, he has had 3 fights in the UFC, not going past the 2nd round, putting on amazing performances by knocking out all his opponents, which are Trevin Giles, Charles Rattate, and Ji Li Liang. Being the only fighter to knock out the Leech, the welterweight division definitely has a new dangerous fighter in their hands. Silva, who is known for his aggressive and dynamic striking style, which blends Muay Thai and elements of capoeira, creating an unorthodox and fluid stand-up game. His striking arsenal includes powerful kicks, spinning techniques, and explosive punches that he uses to overwhelm his opponents. Silva's capoeira influence gives him a unique movement style, often using unexpected angles and rhythm changes to throw off his opponents. In addition to his striking, Silva has solid grappling skills, particularly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. While his preference is to stand and trade blows, he is capable of defending on the ground and utilizing submissions if the fight goes there. His overall style is that of an entertaining, aggressive striker with flair and creativity. Silva has a record of 14 wins and 2 losses. He also got into the UFC through Dana White Contender series and since then has had savage performances, finishing all his opponents by knockouts and technical knockouts. He knocked out Weston Wilson and Charles Jourdain in the 1st round and 2nd round respectively, and then had a savage bloodied fight against Drew Dober, causing so much damage that the doctor had to step in to stop the fight, giving Silva the win. Silva likes to lick his opponent's blood and cries before and after his fights, which makes him incredibly scary. Bruna Brasil is primarily known for her striking abilities with a background in kickboxing and Muay Thai. She favors using sharp technical kicks and fluid combinations to control the distance in her fights. Brasil's striking is often characterized by precision rather than just power, focusing on timing and accuracy to pick apart her opponents from the outside. Though her striking is primarily her weapon, she also incorporates elements of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which helps her defend against grapplers and submissions. Overall, Brasil's style is centered on maintaining a striking advantage, keeping the fight on the feet, where she can dictate the pace with her kickboxing skills. Bruno has a record of 10 wins and 4 losses and 1 draw. Getting into the UFC through the Contender Series by knocking out her opponent, she lost her first fight by getting knocked out by Denise Gomez, then won her second fight against Shauna Bannon by decision, then losing to Loma Lubomi, and then having a dominant win by decision against Molly McCain, which, if you're being honest, was a huge upset. Mauricio Ruffy, who has a well-rounded MMA style, combining striking and grappling effectively. He is primarily a Muay Thai striker with powerful kicks and strong clinch work. Using elbows and knees when he gets close, his stand-up game is aggressive, with a focus on pressuring opponents and creating openings for significant strikes. In addition to his striking, Ruffy has solid grappling skills, particularly in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is comfortable on the ground both defensively and offensively, able to secure submissions or control the fight with his grappling when needed. His fighting style emphasizes a balance between striking and grappling, making him a versatile competitor. Ruffy has a fight record of 10 wins and 1 loss. Aside from his 1 loss, Ruffy has knocked out every single one of his opponents. The man is a dangerous savage. Getting into the UFC through Contender Series as well, he has had an impressive debut at UFC 301, beating the brakes out of Jamie Mullarkey and knocking him out in the first round. The last fighter I would like to mention who isn't in the UFC yet is Icaro Brito, who is set to fight in Dana White's Contender Series soon. He currently has a record of 7 wins and 1 loss. I don't know a lot about him, so he's sort of an honorable mention on this list, but I won't be surprised if he gets a UFC contract as well. When you're comparing the fighting nerds in the UFC, you also have to compare the division that they are in. So we have Caio Borralho, who is in the middleweight division. It's a pretty tough division, especially recently. So it's gonna be hard for him to crack that top 5, which he just did. But going forward, it's only gonna get tougher. Carlos Prates is in the welterweight division. In my opinion, that's not as tough as the middleweight division right now, but he still has a handful of fighters to get through before he can be put up there. So it's not going to be an easy run. Mauricio Ruffy, let's just see how that plays out. But they both face the same exact threats. Silva, who is definitely the most interesting among this group, maybe the most autistic. In my opinion, he does have the toughest test to prove. There's only savages in front of him for him to get through, but I honestly believe he still has potential to do that. Now, when he cracks into, or if he cracks into the top 15 or top 5, then things really are gonna get gruesome, even though they already are. But yeah, let's see how it goes for him. Bruna Brasil is definitely in a tough division. The top 10 is not easy to crack through, and in my opinion, she hasn't shown that much for me to have a lot of faith in her. But I do see her as a young fighter who has potential to get way, much better. So I'm not gonna count her out. She is an underdog for sure, but it's gonna be tough for her, absolutely. At the end of the day, the fighting nerds are a group of savages taking over the UFC right now. Look, people can downplay and say, hey, it's early in their career, of course they're doing this, but I don't think any other camp has done something like this where every single fighter coming out of there is putting up the same type of impressive performance regardless of the weight class. So it's pretty interesting to see where they go from there. Now that I've broken down every UFC fighting nerd, who's your favorite? Who do you think is the best pound for pound fighting nerd, and who do you see with the most potential in their career? It's not far-fetched to say that at least one of them will be a title contender, if not a champion. So who do you think will be the first to achieve that? Or do you believe they all have the potential to reach those heights? Feel free to rank them as well in the comments, and let's see who makes the right predictions down the line. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Don't forget to like this video if you like the video, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys later.